This is Campus Takeover, brought to you by Trib Preps. Each week we'll visit the campus of one of Friday night's marquee matchups. We'll break down key storylines and talk with players and coaches from both teams. And afterward, we'll pick the winners of the biggest games. Hit it! We're here at Pleasant Grove High School, where the Vikings are preparing to host Corner Canyon. Later in the show, we'll catch up with Chargers junior quarterback Hayden Borg, who will be making his first varsity start Friday night. But let's start with Pleasant Grove. We're joined by Pleasant Grove coach Les Hamilton and senior wide receiver Malik Overstreet. Right now, Pleasant Grove checks in at number 3 in our 5A rankings. You'll find out where they are statewide a little later in the show. Les, how is a team that didn't qualify for the playoffs last year getting so much hype already?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think it's because we have so many returning starters off last year's team, and then we've got good young guys coming up. We did really well in the summer in the passing leagues and the lineman challenges, and so we're excited going into the year. We think we've got the pieces in place if we stay healthy. We'd like to make a run at our conference championship this year. So
full disclosure, I played for Les at Alta on the best team in state history, the 2007 Alta Hawks. But I remember his son, Isaac, who's now going to be the starting quarterback here, when he was just this tall. Now he's the starting quarterback, 6'5". For you, what is the difficulties of being the head coach and having your son as the quarterback?
Yeah.
Do you have to change the way you coach?
Yeah, I've got to get away from him. So I got to go out and let him be his own guy and not have coach and dad in the back, yelling at him and this and that. So I'm trying really hard just to let him go out, and I think I can make it more difficult for him, and rarely can I make it better for him. So at home, we talk football as dad and son, but on the field it's coach and son, and he's been doing a great job stepping up to the pressure of that so far.
Malik, are you tired of hitting your own guys? Are you looking forward to Friday finally coming around?
Yeah. So I was talking with Les a little bit earlier today, and he said that you have really improved from last year to this year. What have you worked on in the offseason to get where you're at right now?
Mostly on my feet and my speed.
So the reason we're here is because this is the game of the week. Corner Canyon's coming in here on Friday night. What do you know about the Chargers? They're 3rd and 4A in our rankings. How big of a test are they going to be?
Well, big's the big thing. We went and watched them. We watched each other's scrimmages, and we went and saw them Friday. They are massive up front. They've got fast, skilled guys. So we're hoping that, we can use some tempo to wear them down a little bit, get some big plays. But, man, that's a tough one for us to start off right off the bat. It's a tough game. They're legit. There's no doubt.
When Corner Canyon coach Don Eck first saw junior quarterback Hayden Borg throw 2 years ago, he raved to his peers, saying he envisioned winning a championship with Borg behind center. Now entering his first full season as a starter, the compliment doesn't intimidate the confident QB.
I don't think of it as pressure. I think it was more confidence, kind of coach showing confidence in me, and it just makes me motivated to work hard and try to show him that he's right and prove that we really can win a state championship.
The journey to the state championship begins this evening when Borg leads the Chargers into enemy territory at Pleasant Grove. The Chargers are ranked 3rd in Class 4A, while the Vikings check in at number 3 in 5A. With the new offensive coordinator, Borg will likely throw more than his predecessor, Michael Ebling. But as he explained, he's willing to do anything to win, even if that means riding the pine.
I think just desire to win and push my team to victory no matter what consequences.
No matter what the consequences, elaborate on that. What does that mean?
If it means I have to sit the bench, play less playing time, or different strategy, not throw the ball as much, I'll do whatever it takes to help the team win.
Do you plan on sitting on the bench ever?
No, I plan on starting, but if it helps the team win, then I'll do whatever is necessary.
2015 obviously has a lot of intriguing storylines. Class 5A is headlined by Bingham and Brighton, both in Region 3. Do you think those two guys are the front runners?
Easily. I think the team to watch from North, though, is Skyview. They were really good last year, and they've got a lot of people back, but they are moving up a class from 4A to 5A and playing different teams, so that could be affect things.
What's another team that might be flying under the radar in that classification?
Pleasant Grove, where we're here right now, they sound really good. They've got a lot of big line, a lot of speed, a big senior class. Pleasant Grove could be a surprise.
So 4A, Timpview's coming off their 3rd straight championship, but East is reloaded. They had a couple transfers coming in from Florida and from California. Those two are expected to be the front runners in 4A. Is there another team that might sneak into the conversation?
Bountiful, I think, is really good. They've got a good running back in Max Cooley, and Larry has been there forever and does a great job, and they do the same thing year in and year out. So I'd look for Bountiful to be pretty good. How do you think?
I would agree. Highland is going to be another team that's going to be physical. They're always, Brody Benson has those guys. He told me earlier in the season that they're not elite in speed, they're not elite in size, but they are elite in work ethic, and that goes a long way in high school. Another team in 4A that I think is kind of a sneaker right now is Skyline. Region 6 is kind of down. Murray and Skyline in that region can kind of skate a little bit across the other opponents and maybe be fresher than the other teams going into the postseason.
Kearns on the west side could be a surprise too. They've got a lot of people back, and they're really excited about their team on the west side as well.
Team we didn't mention in 4A, Corner Canyon, is going to be playing here on Friday night. What are your thoughts on the Chargers?
They're big, they're physical. Don Eck likes to run a physical smash mouth football kind of team. I think they could be very good. They've still got it's only a third-year school, so they've still got to establish some tradition of winning.
So Tom did a story on the domination of Region 9 in southern Utah. 3AA looks to be the same. You look in our rankings, you have Desert Hills number 1, you have Hurricane number 3, and Dixie number 4. So 3 out of the top 5 teams are from that region. Do you think this, again, Region 9 gets the championship?
I'm really impressed with Desert Hills. They've got a lot of big guys back. I think that they felt like they should have won it last year, and I think they've got a lot of motivation. That said, Logan and Judge moving into this classification, Judge coming up from the 3A championship last year, and Logan has traditionally been good. I think the northern teams will be better this year.
3A, Juan Diego is going down. They seem to be the clear runaway in that classification. Kind of what Judge did to the other teams for the past 2 seasons, especially indicative of last year's championship, where it was over at halftime. Judge Memorial putting the whip on Juab. Do you think Juan Diego is in the same situation?
I don't think Juan Diego is as big as Judge was last year, which I think might give some of those other teams a hope. I covered the Judge Juab game, and Judge was just too big for him. Juab has a good team, good tradition. They're pretty high on their team. I think if anybody to look for, it would be Juab.
2A, South Summit has won 2 straight championships, but North Summit, the other Summit, seems to be a team that might give them their money's worth this year.
That's one of the really good rivalries. Those schools are not very far apart. They're long-time rivalries. I think this is something like the 80th year for North Summit football. North Summit and South Summit, the winner of that game's got to be favored. And then you don't know what Summit Academy has. Charter school, you don't know what they might have brought in. They could be a surprise.
1A, Duchesne and Rich have combined for the last 6 state titles. Duchesne won 4 straight. Rich had the bookend of those 4 straight. Are those the 2 favorites in 1A again?
Well, I think you got to look at Diamond Ranch. They've got 9 returning starters back. You don't know what they brought in, them being a boarding school down in southern Utah. And I think Layton Christian. And
moving down from 2A.
Moving down. Parowan moving down from 2A could all be threats.
2014 was a year for repeat champions in Utah high school football. Bingham captured its 2nd consecutive 5A title with a 20-3 win over American Fork at Rice Eccles Stadium. It was a fitting end for Coach Dave Peck, who retired after the season. Class 4A also crowned a familiar champion when Timpview took down the surprise Roy Royals 28-7 in the title game. Britton Covey, who's moved on to the University of Utah, guided the Thunderbirds to their 3rd consecutive state championship. It was all about the South in Class 3AA, where the 4 semifinalists all hailed from southern Utah. Dixie topped Hurricane 27-19 for the Flyers' 2nd title in 3 years. The Judge Memorial Bulldogs kept their firm grip on the Class 3A title by taking down Juab 63-14 in the title game. Judge has won both state titles since the UHSAA added Class 3AA for football. But that will change this year because Judge Memorial has moved up to Class 3AA. South Summit went back-to-back in Class 2A by beating Summit Academy 28-6 at SUU. And there was a new king atop Class 1A after Duchesne, which had won the last 4 state titles, fell to Kanab in the quarterfinals. Rich shut out Diamond Ranch 20-0 for the state title. There was plenty of other news outside of the title games during the 2014 season. Jordan's offense put together the third best performance in state history, only behind East's 2013 season and the Beat Diggers' 2012 season. The Beat Diggers, led by quarterback Austin Confensis, gained 6,602 yards during the season. 764 of those yards came in a 78-76 triple overtime loss to Brighton. Confensis, who's moved on to the University of Nevada, graduates as a state record holder in career passing attempts, career completions, career passing yards, career passing touchdowns, career rushing touchdowns, career 100-yard rushing games, career rushing yards, career rushing attempts, career points scored, career touchdowns responsible for, career TDs, and career total offense, just to name some of his state records. Duchesne saw its 48-game winning streak come to an end at the hands of North Summit in a 14-12 loss in Week 2. Brighton standout receiver Simi Fehoko set a state record with 24 receiving touchdowns for the Bengals. He averaged 138 yards receiving per game, also a state record. There was plenty of interest from some of the nation's top programs in the class of 2015. Salem Hill's Porter Gustin chose to attend USC. He'll join Brighton's Osa Messina, who also chose the Trojans. Harriman's Andre James went with a different Pac-12 school, deciding on UCLA. And East Christian Falau picked Oregon State. Those were just 4 of the top recruits in the state from the class of 2015. And now let's go back to Trevor at Pleasant Grove.
We are going to rank the top 25 teams statewide, every single classification. Checking in at number 25 is the Roy Royals. They had one of their best seasons in school history, undefeated all the way up until the championship before they fell to Timpview. They have 2 of the best running backs in the classification coming back in Baby T. Atawala and Matty Matatuia.
Salem Hills comes in at 24. They lost Porter Gustin last year, but they have a whole bunch of tools coming back and started developing a winning tradition. They could be a team that could be dangerous this year.
At number 23, the Hurricane Tigers in Class 3AA. The Tigers made it to the state championship game before they fell to their crosstown rival, Dixie. Although they lost some key pieces of the puzzle last season, they do have some returning starters and are expected to contend immediately.
Riverton comes in at 22. Silver Wolves had their best season ever last year, but they've got a new head coach in Brad Hawkins, who's a longtime assistant there and has been a head coach before in Utah. I don't expect that things will change much at Riverton.
Coming in at number 21 is the Skyline Eagles, the first team from Region 6. They're expected to win that region on the back of their tight end / defensive end, highly recruited Riley Sharp.
Woods Cross comes in at number 20. The Wildcats lost a bunch of players from last year and are in rebuilding mode, but they have established a winning tradition. But they are in Region 5, which is one of the tougher 4A regions.
At number 19, the Lone Peak Knights. Lone Peak had an uncharacteristic season last year. They're looking to rebound this year with some great skill talent, but the question marks at the offensive line and in the defensive line are what is holding them back from being a top 10 team right now.
The Logan Grizzlies come in at number 18. They moved from 4A to 3AA, which should help Mike Favero's team. I suspect that they're going to be in the mix for the 3AA title all year long.
Coming in at number 17 is the Davis Darts. They're making their switch from Region 1 to Region 2, which will be an easier region at this point in time. In a season in which last year they had an interim coach, that's not the case anymore. That continuity and that familiarity with each other should help them this season.
Fremont Silver Wolves come in at number 16. They're in revamped Region 1. We'll be playing Mountain Crest and Skyview. They're a good basic fundamental team, and look for them to do good things this year.
At number 15, the Syracuse Titans. Syracuse predominantly has been known as a defensive powerhouse, and that will remain the same this season. If the offense can catch up to the defense, the Titans could be dangerous.
The Desert Hills Thunder are ranked 14. Longtime coach Carl Franke has a lot of optimism down there, a lot of players coming back from last year, and Nephi Sewell will be one of the top recruited players in the state this year.
At number 13, the Highland Rams. Highland has a lot of returning players at their skill position, led by James Pembroke at quarterback. Brody Benson believes this team is as deep as it's ever been and should contend in the log jam of Region 5.
The Bountiful Braves come in at number 12. coached by Larry Wall, who's been around almost as long as I have. Larry does the same thing every year. They're a very disciplined team, and they've got a great running back coming back in Max Cooley.
Checking in at number 11 is the Springville Red Devils, the favorite to win Region 8 behind their vaunted defense.
The American Fork Cavemen check in at number 10. They were a surprise state finalist last year, gave Bingham a pretty good game in the state championship game, and I look for the Cavemen to be strong again this year.
At number 9, the Jordan Beat Diggers. Some guy named Austin Confenses is now gone. Replacing him is Drew Lisk, who has been a standout shortstop for the Beat Diggers baseball team. He's got a rocket arm and is extremely efficient in the pocket, alongside Spencer Curtis, who led the state with 79 receptions last season. If the Beat Diggers can get off the field defensively, they'll be really tough to get out of the playoffs.
Corner Canyon comes in at number 8. This is a Class 4A school in their 3rd year of existence. They played very well last year, making it to the semifinals. They have to replace a lot of folks, but they have one of the biggest lines in the state. Expect them to play some smash mouth football.
At number 7, the Skyview Bobcats. They return 8 starters on both sides of the ball, including Garrison Beach at quarterback and Bryce Mortensen at receiver. They should be dangerous on offense and are the favorites to win Region 1.
The Harriman Mustangs come in at number 6. They had a great year last year, came within a couple of overtime games of really making some noise. They've got a little bit of rebuilding to do, but it's one of the bigger schools. I think they'll be very good this year.
At number 5, the Pleasant Grove Vikings. Les Hamilton believes this team is quicker and bigger than it's ever been. They're going to speed up teams with 2 great receivers on the outside and a strong arm quarterback behind a big offensive line. This team is dangerous.
Number 4, the East Leopards. They are rebuilding after a rare off year last year. Brandon Matich has things very optimistic there. They're also playing on a new turf field that a lot of excitement about on the east side of Salt Lake City.
At number 3, the Timpview Thunderbirds, the 3-time defending 4A champions, are loaded once again. This program simply does not rebuild, it reloads. Kahi Neves, a transfer from Brighton, will be the quarterback this season, with Samson Nakua on the outskirts. Look for Timpview to contend for its 4th straight.
Brighton comes in at number 2. They're one of the top teams in terms of having national recruits. Semi Fiocco who's going to Stanford, is a terrific wide end, and I think you'll see good things out of them all year.
And the number 1 team in the state of Utah is the Bingham Miners. The 2-time Class 5A defending champions are extremely talented on both sides of the ball. Keaton Torrey, a transfer from Oklahoma, will be under center, a highly recruited athlete who is being pursued by BYU, Utah. He decommitted from Louisville before the season started. The defense, which led the classification in nearly every category last season, might be better this season, with Parker Workman leading the front and the defensive line, and Jay Tufeli, who has said could be the best defensive player in program history, and that's really saying something.
The 2015 season kicked off with Thursday night's matchup between Hurricane and Skyline. A pair of Riley Sharp touchdowns in the 4th quarter helped lift Skyline past Hurricane 17-3. Sharp caught a 9-yard touchdown pass from George Weeks for the first score, then returned an interception 10 yards for the 2nd touchdown. Now back to Trevor and Tom.
Each week, we're going to put our knowledge to the test and pick the 7 best games of the week. Please leave your pitchforks and lanterns at home if we pick against your team. First is Bountiful at Lone Peak. Who do you got, Tom?
I've got Lone Peak. They're at home. They're the veteran team. I think they'll beat the 4A team.
I've got Lone Peak as well. Switching gears to East at Syracuse, another 4A, 5A matchup.
I'm going to go with the 4A team this year. I think Syracuse has improved from last year, but East is going to be darn good.
Defensively, it's going to be a great game, but Syracuse doesn't have the offense to keep up with the Leopards. I'm going with East as well. Dixie at Springville. It's a 3AA at a 4A matchup.
I'm going to pick Dixie. They've got experience, and they've got some of the best running backs around. Good offense. I think they'll give Springville all they want.
The first game that we've differed on, I am picking the Springville Red Devils. That defense is supposed to be pretty impressive, being that they're at home. I've got Springville. Next game is Harriman at Brighton. Should be an extremely physical game. Who do you got in that one, Tom?
I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to pick Harriman. I think Harriman looked really good last year, and I think Brighton has got some things to prove on the line play.
Tom has the 2nd-ranked team in Class 5A going down on opening week. I'm picking the Bengals at home. Too much talent on the outskirts and in the backfield. Brighton wins that one. Next game is Juan Diego at West Jordan. A big difference in enrollment here. We've got a 3A and a 5A program going against each other. At West Jordan, who do you have there?
I've got Juan Diego. John Colissimo has got his program going. I think it's the 17th year there. The kids know what they're doing. West Jordan's got a new coach. There's a lot of optimism on West Jordan, but I'm going to go with the 3A school.
West Jordan has Mike Mayfu running things. He's probably the most talented and famed player to ever come out of that school. West Jordan, I picked them to make the playoffs in the brutal Region 3, so they're not going to be losing to a 3A team anytime soon. West Jordan wins that one. Mountain Crest at Highland. These guys have played each other in the opening week for what it seems like more than a decade. Who do you have winning there?
I like Highland. With Highland's new sport turf, it's one of the great venues in all of high school football. I think Highland wins that first week.
Mount Crest should be drastically improved. Tanner Schwab is a great quarterback, but Highland at home will gradually wear that team down with the power up front that they have. I like the Rams. And now bringing to the game of the week, Corner Canyon from 4A, the third-ranked team in our power rankings, coming here to Pleasant Grove High School to play the Vikings, the third-ranked team in 5A. Tom, who do you have in that game?
Well, I'm hedging my bet. I was going to go with Corner Canyon, but we were here at Pleasant Grove. I was really impressed with what I saw. I can't believe how big they are. I'm changing my mind. I'm going with Pleasant Grove.
I'm picking the Vikings as well. Watch for Pleasant Grove to speed up the game and try and wear down Corner Canyon as the game progresses into the fourth quarter. For everybody, I'm Trevor Phibbs. This is Tom Wharton. We'll see you next week.